Hi everyone. I think we're good to go. I'm just getting all organised behind the scenes. Hi Gareth. Hi Dawn. Oh, thanks Gareth. You got up to watch my show. That's very kind of you. Got up early. Come on, it was 9 o'clock. I've been up since 4:30. Hiya Sandra, Lynn. Hiya. Oh, hi Jax and Sarah. Oh, you managed to watch on Creating Craft as well. Oh, you're normally working, aren't you, Sarah? So you're having a double dose of it today. Hi, everybody. So we're trying another new setup this week. How are we doing? Can you see me? I think I can adjust that. Oh no, that way. Although if I do it that way, you get more of a phone in. Anyway, okay. So I think we're good to go. And I've just on my other screen, I've just got stuff and the comments and everything. So excuse me if I'm looking over. So nice to see everybody. Thank you for popping by. We're waiting for the latest announcement to find out whether the shop can still be open. We sit in tier 3, which means that retail can be open at the moment. So we've been in the shop today and getting everything ready. We have got our... So I've been on telly this morning. So yeah, a few of you have managed to catch that. Thank you. So it's been a bit of a... Oh, Sarah, you're self-isolating. Oh, bless you. Oh, I'm going to touch wood when I say that. We haven't had to any of us. There's 5 in the house as well, so if one did, you know, you're all going to have to, aren't you? So, anyway, there's always silver linings, isn't there? Because that means you've got to watch the show and you get to watch this. Just hope you stay well. Oh, Sheila, you watch the show as well. Thank you. Yes, so I was on Create and Craft. We are open, Lynn, at the moment. Yeah, you're tier 4, aren't you? But we're tier 3. So, yeah, the shop is open. It's all very strange, and we sit on the border of Lincolnshire but Cambridgeshire, so in one of the previous things we were locked down but Cambridgeshire weren't, and this way round Cambridgeshire is and we're not. But there's another announcement today, isn't there? So I'm pretty sure that you know, we're going to be, but as it stands at the moment, the shop's just closed today, but yeah, shop is technically open. Let's see what they say today. So yeah, we're open if we can, and whatever, Lynn, get over tomorrow. They'll either just say immediate effect, won't they, or they'll give us a day's grace or so like they did last time. We've just had a COVID fog-in. Very strange. I've been researching it for a while. We were looking at doing it ourselves, and we had a fantastic company who does all our fire hydrants for us. And fire extinguishers, sorry, and he's doing it as a service. Absolutely brilliant. He covers the place in this kind of COVID fog that they use in if they've got to do hospitals for cleaning. Just gets everywhere. So yeah, we've been extra. Oh no, who's saying that? Jill, South Holland's gone into tier 4. Okay. Oh, is it? Oh, you are the bearers of good news for me today. I thought it was 5 o'clock they were announcing that. Yeah. Oh, Maria, they're saying that's happening, is it? Okay, forget that. Is that with immediate effect? So am I closed as of tomorrow? This is welcome to our lives at the minute. Hey guys, but I love that we can be here. So I love that we can do this, and so everything we'd planned to do virtually can still go ahead. I am at home. I've sussed my setup out at home. So as much as I would like to be in the shop doing this, I need to get this portable to the shop now is what I need to do. Or I always need to be home to do it. It makes no odds really, other than I can't take you for a tour around. So I'll have to throw in an extra live. Oh, Heidi, if you're commenting, my lovely, and you're commenting as Riverside. So you put please say no. That isn't me typing please say no, although I'd quite like to say no. Oh, I feel like we're just having a COVID chat here, but actually this is so important when I don't get to capture stuff. Tier 4 from midnight tomorrow. Okay, guys, we're open tomorrow. By the sounds of it, we are open. We're open 10 till 3. We've had our COVID fog in, which apparently guarantees if someone had COVID and came in and touched something, it zaps it away. So yeah, Heidi, you need to stop commenting as Riverside, my darling. See if you can sign on as you. You continue. You keep coming up as Riverside. Anyway, okay, so get to the shop tomorrow if you need to. However, we'll do what we've been doing up to now. So click and collects. How long are we standing tier 4? What they're doing? Reviewing every 2 weeks. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so what we did last time, mail orders, you're not affected. So I know a lot of you are our mail order customers. So keep going that way. We will, in fact, Gaynor, my mum who does the mail orders, is in there now. So she's going out of hours between us needing to be in the day and get your kits and things prepared. So she being out of hours, post office will still be working as normal, and hopefully it'll settle down now a little bit from the mad Christmas rush. So yeah, we'll carry on with getting everything out to you, and then we're doing click and collect. So those of you that are local, although if we're in tier 4, does that mean everybody from tier 4? I don't know. Who am I to make these rules? So we're doing click and collect, so it means I can't let you in the shop in this tier if that's what we've gone into, but you can come to the door and I can be your runner and I can run and grab things and bring them back to the door. It's a palaver. If you're local and want to get the shop, come and see us tomorrow. That is your best bet. Oh, Linda, you got your books. Did they get to you? You said thank you for sending them. We did send them, but have they got to you? That would be great if they have. Oh my goodness. I'm sure the post have caught up as well. So yeah, crazy times. I had no doubt we were going to go into tier 4, to be honest. But the shop is looking so clean and tidy. We did have I don't want to call it a flood. That really sounds dramatic. There was masses of floods. My husband's a firefighter, and they've just been crazy over the. Bless him, he was on holiday for a bit of it, but they were at Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, continuous, just trying to save people's houses really on the river. So I don't think our fire crew have had much of a rest. I don't want to call mine a flood in the scale of that. It was a leak, but it came through into the shop. How frustrating was that? So it came through the flat roof part of the shop. Missed all the beads, you'll be pleased to know, and all the craft stuff just fell in a hallway, which was incredibly handy. So yeah, that was my night before Christmas Eve, and Christmas Eve all sorted. I was cleaning the shop, and thank goodness Santa dealt with the presents for me, because I was incredibly busy mopping the shop, and very amazing local builders came and saved us and sorted it all out. So yes, it's been a little bit mad, to say the least. So I haven't been bored over Christmas. Haven't obviously seen anybody, but certainly haven't been bored because I had to deal with that in the shop, and very excited to get your bead boxes underway. Everything just seems delayed. You know what? Welcome to this year and next for the beginning, I guess. But we've got an order stuck from America, stuck in the Eurotunnel. I keep tracking it every day. It goes, your order's stuck in the Eurotunnel. So I don't quite know where in the Eurotunnel or when it plans to release. I do not know, but it's on its way. So it's one element of it, and I can do the box without it, but I really want this bit in there. But it's fine if not. It is good to go. So the boxes, I think we're going to have to commit to them coming out to you, because otherwise we'll be sneaking into January before we know it. So yeah, we're aiming for the 4/5. If they're just on their way and they're going to get here, I'll wait for the box for this bit. It's really little, but I really wanted it in the box, and it's the one thing we're waiting for. Yes, it's been crazy times really. Crazy good, kept busy. I have made lots of goodies. So one of the projects I've made, it wasn't just for today. It's a new kit colourway that we're looking at doing, but it worked really well to show you for endings. So I'm going to flick over. So welcome to all of you. I'm Donna, Riverside Beads and Crafts, but I tend to just come on for the bead side of it. And this particular video is very specific to endings. I'm sure I'll get diverted off, and feel free to ask me any questions that you want to ask relative to Kumihimo. So I think I've got everything out to kind of show it, but I don't want it to be too long. So I wanted to focus on endings, and the reason I did, I thought I'd got rid of all my UFOs, as I'm going to call them, which are unfinished objects. I thought that I'd done them all and put ends on them and given them as gifts. I sold a load for Sue Ryder in the summer. So when I needed some bits to show you how to do ends, I needed to go through my stash. And yeah, I haven't finished all my UFOs at all, so I didn't need to make anything else for this, because I've still got lots of UFOs. I obviously looked at them and thought, oh, I don't know who that would be for, so I put it back in the drawer. So this is what we need not to be doing, guys and girls, isn't it? Let me come over to my mat and I will show you. This all looks really pretty here. It's all of these stuck in the corner there. There's my other UFOs. So what I wanted to show you today is how to do the how I work endings out. So what Kumihimo is, and I'm going to set up a braid, but probably not do too much with it. I have done YouTube videos on it, and I think I've done a previous live or so on it as well. So yes, but I really wanted to just show you how to get to those pesky ends. There are lots of options. I'm going to talk you through some of them, and I'm going to show you some of them as well. So yeah, I'll show you what I do when it comes to endings. So let's have a little look at what I'm going to need. I've got a really lovely little storage pot. It's not very organised. I'm going to bring it in anyway. Well, it's sort of organised. I like to keep them in colour order, size order, and type order as well. So so you've got all your different ones. I am a bit of a Kumihimo addict though, for those of you that know me. I've got a book on Kumihimo, and I just love I love the possibilities with your braids. This one is a crystal one. So okay, I've got a new camera. Let's see whether it plays the game and focuses any better for us. Yay! I got new toys. Look what Santa bought me. Things that focus on my camera. That's fab. So you can see that. Anyway, look how gorgeous that is. It might go out of focus when I move it, but I just love this. So this is one of our crystal Kumihimo projects. In a beautiful new colourway. This particular bead is a hematite rather than a glass crystal, and it's a faceted crystal, the crystal effect one, so it fits in with our crystal Kumihimo project. So I'm going to do this as a kit. Bear with us. This one will be available over the next few, hopefully couple of weeks. Let me just get focused again on that. Oh, technology. Do you think I've got there? How long has this taken me? Just in time for another, we won't call it a lockdown, another tier 4 is apparently what they're calling us. Yes, so that's that one. This is just a regular braid, but I have done a wire wrap on the top. I'll show you that in a bit more detail in a moment. I wanted to show you a tassel effect. Okay, this is a bit scruffy looking, but you can pull the ends out and turn them into little tassels like this, so you can fluff them out. Some of the cords will anyway, and I wanted to show you how you can bind this one as well. It's just a little simple keyring. So they were the ones I was going to show you today and show you how I get to that stage. So Kumihimo is a Japanese braiding technique. It is done on a disc. This one is a round disc. I've got large or small. Now the size of the disc that you use for your braid is really a personal preference. They're both nice lightweight discs. Some people just prefer the larger one to hold, some the smaller. I find the smaller is obviously more portable, so if you're sticking it in a handbag or something, or going anywhere, not that you're allowed to go anywhere, but in the event you were, but it's only, look at it, it's only marginal, so it's a real difficult one. I do find, I've got both, I've got plenty of both, but I do find, yes, sometimes you might want both. Some people prefer the smaller one for beading, some the larger. It's really a personal preference, so I don't want to sway you towards that. I'll guide you if you go, oh, this isn't working for me, or I'm struggling with this. I'm happy to help you. So this is satin cord. Now Kumihimo pretty much works with anything. I had the privilege of joining Prue McRae on a course, and we did a mix of the different cords, and we included wire within the satin and the macrame and things as well. I haven't worked with wire and Kumihimo for ages, so I thoroughly enjoyed that as well. The only thing you find with wire is I do keep a separate disc for wire, because it eventually starts to slice into the edges, and it just sort of takes little bits out of it. So I do tend to use an old disc when I'm working with wire, but the satin cord is fine. I also keep a separate disc for my thin beaded cord. Your other option is to add bobbins on there, which will weight it down a bit, but if you start to stretch the holes too much in your disc, it's they go wider, and then it doesn't hold it as taut. So I do tend to keep one, a mark on the back of it, just to say beaded or something like that. So I'll show you how to set up a satiny one, and this is a standard 8 braid one. This is your satin cord and your a spare piece of your satin cord. So you tie that. This is how I start mine anyway, and I'll show you what that gives you at the beginning, which is a really nice neat end. So I'm tying a double knot around there in the middle, and this is the bit that I then push through the centre of the disc. I think that's a brand new one actually. Brand new just means it's a bit tricky to to do. So when you set this up, you position these either side of north, east, south and west. Now I'm not going to go into this too much, but the way you lay them out determines the pattern that you get, the other side of it. So this way of doing it, and then you would braid accordingly. Okay. Flat Kumihimo. Jax, I am doing a workshop on flat Kumihimo. So I'm doing it as an interactive Zoom class, so you can join me for that. I haven't got a date. My guys that are waiting for a date with me on that. I was thinking the 10th of January. So it's bizarrely, Jax, we're combining a couple of techniques. So it's you know, anyone can join the class at any time. I've got a group of people just to let know first on the dates, but it'll be flat Kumihimo. You'll get sent a kit for that. And then we're going to do a beaded Riverside, which I know is a strange combination, but they're just two projects that we quite fancied doing. So that'll be the next class. There are lots of techniques for flat Kumihimo, so watch this space. Things like that, you know, you may get in your bead boxes as well if you're subscribers. And we do some little kits already on different things too. So there's a few ways you can do that. So just briefly, I will just briefly show this. You take your top right cord to your bottom right and your bottom left up to your top left. Turn, right to right, left to left, turn, right down, left up, turn, right down, left up, turn, and repeat. So you keep going like this, and you will end up with your braid coming out of the centre. I am going to revert to why I start the braid in the way I start it, although I don't think I've got one I can pull out. But what happens is, right, so this is the braid, this is the bullet end that comes out, that will be coming through. So that bit I tied originally under there, what happens is, and I have pulled this out, there will be that spare piece of cord in there and you pull it out. Now that gives you a really neat end, and that end is perfect for just simply gluing into your end cap. So you can glue that straight in to your cap. So actually conveniently that is, oh, it's a little bit big, but yeah, so you would be able to glue that end straight in. The other thing that can do is that bullet end can just be loose. So if you were doing a particular project that you just wanted that end to be loose, you don't have to sort of do much to that one to do it. And then this becomes the other end. So what happens is this would be going through your disc and you would stop when you've sort of finished your cord and everything. So here's the cord, and you sort of take that all off the disc and tie just a big knot or something in it is one option just to secure it. Now, couple of other ways and ways I've done in the past, and you know that I've just changed how I've done it, but it doesn't mean that other ways that I did it before are right or wrong. What I have done in the past is here, while it's still on the disc, is put glue in that centre bit. So glue in that centre, take it off the disc, and then when you take it off, you don't really need to tie it if you leave it. The glue is all dry, and I think that might be what I've done there. So instead of, you know, at this stage, that glue is inside the braid, and that's nice and secure, which will allow me to then chop that off without doing anything else. So that's one option, and depending what design you're doing, that is an option as well to use. The other option is when it comes off of the disc, so like this, you tie that big knot in it, and we do this binding process, okay, which is what I'm going to do now. So I wanted to show you how to bind it. Now I'm using a green cord, so hopefully you can see it. Now it is a NYMO, however, it doesn't need to be beading thread, just some cotton is absolutely fine. So you take this thread, and what you do is, say this isn't obviously big enough for a bracelet, but say it was a bracelet and we wanted it about that size, you would bind this where you would want the end cap to be. So if you imagine that end cap will be on there, and then your other one, you say, right, I want it to be this length. So I'm going to bind there, because that binding is going to hold it in place for you to trim off the other side of it. So I'm going to pop that under there. I'm tying this. So I'm tying it slightly. If you look up, if you can see the thread, I've got the slightly shorter end there and the longer end here. And I'm going to tie it. I need to try and stop these messages coming through because I can't see them. So if someone's trying to message me, don't, because I can't see them anyway. So yeah, it's not allowing me to see the messages while I'm doing this. So yeah, if you need me, you have to message me on this live if you're watching it. Okay, so yes, the binding, you would tie it slightly nearer to one end of the cord and leave this longer end to wrap round. So it's just a knot here. Hold on, bear with me, I'll get my fingers and thumbs in the way. Okie dokie, hold on. Okay, what I'm going to do is just bring it out the way a little bit so you won't be able to quite see what I'm doing, sorry. It's so tiny. Through like that. Right, let's get it down to one end now. Okay. Alright, so I've bound that. Well, I've tied it once, and then you would tie a second knot. I'm just going to trim this off. Get that out of the way so you can hopefully see that. So, and then we would do a second knot. Now, this would be nice and tight because when we chop this off, that is all that is going to hold this in place. If this isn't tied properly, that will just completely unravel on you. So we do a couple of knots there first off. That's that bit. Make them nice and tight. And then we would wrap that round there. And this then, like I say, is all that holds it in place. So it can be 2 or 3 times, however many you want to, but it's not very big, the area that you'll be wrapping. So if I do that and then tie a knot, and I'll bring it up to show you. So then I'm tying it off again, and you can add a drop of glue and let it dry. It depends how you are about. The panic is when you cut it, that's all that's holding it to stop it unraveling while you glue it. So what I recommend, and it's completely what you want to do, let me get that to focus for you. Oh, I've got there, guys. Those of you that have come on my Zooms are going to be super pleased that I've sorted out my focus issue, aren't you? What I normally do on my Zooms is share stills as well, so I share pictures into the group, which I still will do. Don't worry, I still think they're going to be really valuable. But yes, it's I'm super pleased to get my focusing issue sorted out. Santa treated me to a new phone. It was well overdue. I hate technology, and I did really need a new phone. It was out of date. I use it as like a mini laptop, really. So finally, it's honestly, my husband is just despairing with me because he's like my technical support. Between him and my stepdad, they just guide me through everything. I just don't seem able to do anything technology related. Hi Jem, yes, the pink's gorgeous. So it's a fabulous colourway with my bright green string around it. But don't worry, that is going to be chopped off. So I've tied that. Nice and secure. If you want to be really particular, drop a glue. It could be your E6000 glue, or it could be your hypo cement, or even super glue, nail varnish, anything really, just to secure that. But I'm going to be brave. Let's brave and hope for the best, because we've not got time for the glue to dry. So I've trimmed those off there. Now that is all that's holding this in place. So before I chop, I am going to get my the next part of the process, which is your endings. So you come into me in the shop and you say, right, I've made this braid, how do you know what end? Because I stock, I dread to imagine, I should count these one day, you're probably talking 200 different end caps. Now some of them are more versatile than others, some of them more popular. So as a standard rule, a 2mm Saturn, you'd be looking at an 8mm end cap. So that's one of our most popular end caps with lobster clasp, jump ring, 2 end caps either side, an extension chain as well, which gives you an extra inch or 2 if you haven't quite made it big enough. You know, something like this isn't going to fit anybody, but if it was nearly there, then you could utilise that extension chain as well. So that would be that one. We've then got ones, this one, such as this one here, which has got, it's got the end on, it's got the little loop, but it's not got your fastening on. So it's just that part of it basically, which allows you to then add your toggle clasp or your magnetic clasp or clasp of choice, something a bit prettier. We've got nice flower clasps and things like that that you could add on. So that's another option. So we pretty much do all sizes in a ready done and just an end cap. And then the other one we do, oh well, we've got the sparkly version of it, is a magnetic one. So we don't do these in all, they don't come in all sizes and all colours, but we try and get the variety in something like a 5 or 6 mils, so they're good for your beaded ones, and then something around an 8 mil where we can. So you've got your kind of main 2 common sizes. And this is a complete clasp. So this one is, that one is a magnetic clasp. oh, I don't, to be honest, they're that strong. I probably can't even grab it out. So that bit, so you glue it in that end there, and you glue it in that end there, and then that, you can see how strong that gets hold of that. That then becomes the feature. So that makes a really gorgeous feature within your project, really. You know, if you imagine if that was on there, that would just look absolutely stunning. So that's the magnetic one. So they're completely ready done in sizes, but magnetic in the middle. This particular one is super strong, that one, but we do ones, oh, they all stick to everything in my pot. We do ones like that, like a barrel one. So it's strong in the middle there, but it just pops together like that, and then again you can glue them in either end. So we do those type too. There's lots of different solutions really to your endings, but so what we need to do is work out our sizing. Now this little gadget is a bead gauge. Bead gauges are for measuring. It's going to be difficult to see the measurements because it's a clear version, but what you do is you would place it over, it's for measuring beads as well, and we double check all our end cap sizes inside. Ideally, if it's a thicker one, we do the inside measurement and try and do the outside as well, but you can measure your braid size with it. So worth having. I think we've got stock of them. They're at like $2.50, something like that, and they are absolutely brilliant. So these, you bring it over, you don't squeeze it because you're looking to see how the braid measures up. And then you look, let's bring it up and see if you can see. Okay, it's not so great on this, but you look here, so there's a little line there, and then there's a marking on there, so it measures how wide that is. So that tells me that braid is coming in at about 7.5, 8 mil. So we'd be looking, you could bind this, so your options are, you could bind this tighter, so you can do, bind that so it nips that in, and you could go down to a 7 mil, or you can go looser with it, not tighten it off any, and then an 8 mil will comfortably fit. So that's your options with it. What I do is I separate this clasp when I'm doing it that way. Fingers and thumbs. Oh, I've managed to pull my extension chain off. So this is where your general jewellery making pliers, you would be able to fasten that back on. That will squeeze in there. Fits like a glove. So that's one end. Now, of course, this was our nice bullet end, which is the way that I start them, by starting with 4 braids and tying it. Gives you that nice neat end. You would just need literally 1/4 of a capful, barely any at all, because you can see that's quite a tight fit. So when it goes in, and then you turn it round, it would coat it all the way around. You don't want it to be too thick and squeeze out, but that end would then be glued. Now this end, what we would do is we would get our glue. This is where you do need, well, your E6000's gloopier. Your hypo cement works really well as well, but not things like a kind of crispy super glue. It just doesn't have that flexibility in there. Now E6000 Plus is the new one. They've made the formula super safe, taken the odour away from it as well, because it did used to smell a bit super gluey. So and they've changed the formula, but it is absolutely fantastic still, and we have just secured stock of that again, so we've got plenty of it. Now it goes inside there, and you scrape it off inside the cap. That would all be ready. I would have that sat there, I would have that end in, and I would get my scissors, a good pair of scissors, and chomp away at that. So carefully not to catch your binding, but close enough to your binding. Are you ready? I'm going to attempt to bring it up without dropping it off. So that is what we're looking for. So we're close to our binding. Look how close it is. That's terrifyingly close if it slips off. But your glue at this point is already in your end cap. It's all ready to go. And then you would put that on there. So you would do that nice and carefully, just making sure that that binding disappears inside that end cap as well, and you would turn that round. Now that you would just then put to one side and leave to dry, and that is finishing your UFOs. So the little you know, you can work your sizes out by saying to me, right, I've got 2 mil satin, but you know, if you've just made it from something in your stash, just bear in mind it's difficult for me to guide you on it. And if you come in the shop, feel free to bring it. We have one of these by the till, and we can measure up for you. But if not, get one in your stash if you're ordering online. and that's great for measuring up. So that's a 2mm satin. Of course, we sell 1mm satin as well, so we do most of our colours in a 1mm, which is a thinner one. Now that tends to fit. Let me see if I've got a 1mm. I haven't got a 1mm finished. What I've got a couple of variations of it. I've got a 4 braid done in 2mm, I think, so that comes up thinner. That's a 6mm end cap on there, and I've got a 7 strand as well, which is a beautiful braid to work with, and that's a I think a 5mm on there actually. So yeah, but you can see the benefit of measuring those up. But if you have 5 or 6mm in your stash and a sort of 8mm, you're going to have a good selection there to you know, of what you need. So yes, Sarah, we do sell the glue. It is online and we've got it in the actual shop as well. So, but like we're thinking, get there tomorrow, get there quick. So you can come and have an actual look round. Okay, so that is one of the most common fastenings. Go back to what we said about the fastening. That could be a magnetic one, that could be a basic one that you add your own clasp onto. That's that there. Shall I make this area look a little bit tidier? Honestly, such a scruffy crafter. Unbelievable. Let's get rid of those bits. Won't need those. Oh, I might need them to show you the little loop that I was going to do. Okay, so we've done our bead gauge and our binding, so we'll get those out of the way. Okay, the other option, so all right, let me just show you this one quickly because this one can disappear as well. So this is our my new crystal Kumihimo kit that will be coming soon, and this is on Eslon. So it's a thin cord, Eslon or a 0, so I think Eslon's 0.5, but the macrame cord that I also use for beading is 0.6. It's a real personal preference. Now this one comes up quite fluid on the Eslon, probably a bit more fluid really than the macrame cord, so I haven't decided which one to put in yet. It doesn't matter whether it's fluid or not fluid really, but it's a really nice piece, and it makes a really nice feature in a necklace. So that can be the necklace, and then you can bead either side of it as well. So that's a lovely project to extend it. So this one comes up a lot thinner. So again, we would take our bead gauge, and you really are coming up about probably a 4mm there. So I think I tend to go 5 and I just put a bit more glue in it, but we do a 4mm, so if you prefer it to be tiny. I don't think we do, don't quote me on this, you're best looking on the site, but I wanted rose gold on this. I thought that would look yummy. So I've grabbed a 5mm. Check, see if I've got one in my stash. I didn't know. Oh, that is a 5mm. So this is a 5mm end cap. So yeah, it's going to be a bit big, but to deal with that, you can either bind with something thicker. So you could bind with some Eslon. So when you're, because I'm going to need to cut a fraction off this to make it fit in the depth of the end cap. If you look at your end cap depth, let's see if we can get that up there. So my braid comes to right up to there where my fingertip is, and the end cap's sort of down here. Unless you want to see some of the braid, I like to cover it so it goes right down towards the beads. So, but you could fatten it out with some Eslon. So where I'm doing my binding that I showed you with the green, you could actually bind with the Eslon, so it bulks it out. So that is an option. Go around it a couple of times, tie it off, and then that will be thicker. So if you've only got a 6mm in your stash, just pad it out like that. And like I say, if you need to tighten it up, bind, but do it with thin cord and really pull it tight. So they're your options, rather than have every single colour in every single you know, size. But yes, I'm thinking rose gold. I'm thinking I rather quite would like rose gold on there. So we'll get that one finished. So I'm going to need, yeah, 4mm if I had it, but generally a 5mm I would work with on that. So that's going to be lovely to get that one finished as well. That was one of my Christmas not so break, but break. I did have a break. That isn't true actually. I did have a nice break over Christmas. I just sort of did a combination of nipping into the shop, you know, cleaning obviously after my flood and things, and then just making and family time and everything else. So yeah, it's been rather nice. Now this one here, I'm not going to show you the wire today, but I just wanted to show you what you can do. Let me get this close up. Okay, this is an open, so take it to there. This is a bead cone. It can also be, where's that gone? Oh, has it lost the focus? No. but it could also be this bead cap, so with the opening at the top. So some sort of cone. This would, we actually put these in our bead cap section. But yes, something with an opening at the top. What you then do is you take your wire and you thread it through, here's another UFO, unfinished object. We should call it a UFK, unfinished Kumihimo, but I'm sure I've got other unfinished things. So yes, so through there with wire. So you go through there with the wire just to get it in, and then it comes up and goes through that cap. And then the technique is a wrapped loop. So for those of you that have been doing our bead boxes, we covered wrapped loops in the last one, or I think I've done some little lives on wrapped loops, and you can just wrap it. So then you're creating your own wire cone within your project. So that's another way to finish it if you've got something like this. Even a regular bead cap, you know, if it's just a slightly domed one, could go over it and create a nice wire, as long as your end is neatly finished there. If you need to do the binding technique too far down, you might find a cap. You've got to get one that goes a little bit deeper onto your project. So that will be that one. Gemma, I know you have a tube of that glue sat in your drawer. Yes, you definitely need to get your rainbow Kumihimo project made. I'm disappointed it's still sat in that drawer. I didn't mean complete whole finished braids sat in your drawer. This was just meant to be adding your ends on to those braids. Need to get it done, my lovely. Yes, for sure. Okay, so that's that type of ending. So that's a couple of ways that you can do it. Then the other option is to sort of do a wrapping, so more like a tassel. That was the other one I wanted to show you. Let me bring this one in, albeit a bit pulled apart. So this is a keyring. So you start with the keyring. So the keyring goes through the centre first. You do your Kumihimo braiding. When you come to the end, I mean, I've not tied this or anything, and it's not unravelling on me. What you can do, and you can see I've done it on this one, is you find a rogue. You sort of feel in the middle of the satin cord. Grab one, and it just seems to, you have to just get, that's it, I can feel that unravelling a little. You have to just find the right one and pull on it, and it unravels like this. So it frays it. There you go, that's got it. There. So I don't want to go too high up because I need to, but yes, so you can create a little tassel out of your satin. So this is just regular satin cord, and you just reach in the middle there. You can do it with some pliers if you find that easier. Reach in. I can't do it too much with these nails on a new one, but yeah, reach in there, find one, and then just pull, and you can find the right one. So I'd sometimes do it with the pliers and just grip in and pull them out, and then it frays it like that. So that's one option. Now, you don't have to do that with it, but you can still create a tassel of these. So let me show you how you would do that. Where's that spare piece I nearly chucked away? I'll do it in a different colour and then you'll be able to see it. So what you do is you create a loop, like so. These techniques, some of them are, I think most of them actually are covered within my book as well. So if you've got my beginner's guide to Kumihimo, this will show you all of this. So you create a loop like that, have that up the braid. So I've got it there, up the braid, okay. I'm taking the longer of these ones, so somewhere there. Okay, so I've got the longer of the cords like that and pulling it out to one side. And I'm going to wrap it around, including this loop. So round and round there. I'm going up the wrapping. So I've started at the bottom and I'm wrapping up there, and I'm going to push it through that loop there. So through the loop, like so. And then I'm going to pull on the pink there. Okay, let me see if I can get this a bit nearer for you. Bear with me, let me get it to focus. Okay. So when I pull this, that is hopefully, I might need to just convince it to, but it's going to pull it through there. Can you see it going? Oh, nearly. So I'm pulling that blue cord, there we go, and it popped out. Pulling it through that binding, tighten it up, give that a little pull. And can you see what it's done? So it's created like a little binding there, but what it's done is tucked it under. I mean, you could thread it with a needle under there, but that just, if you can do that technique, it just pulls it through for you. I would probably put glue as well. I don't think on its own as a long-term solution that without the glue would be suitable. But before you do it, if you put glue round the braid, then do the binding, then pull it through, that will just give it some extra security. But the idea of this is we're using, let me chop them off so they are fairly neat and equal. It means I'm chopping off my little frayed bit, but I can always redo it if I need to. So then you've got like a little tassel there. So then that's a really nice little keyring. Now that's also a really nice feature on the bottom of a necklace or something as well. So all of these techniques, just remember you can cross-use them within your techniques. And so that one is a little binding and a frayed end at the bottom, so you don't have an end cap on this. I'm not going to show you this technique in too much detail, but I think I have shown you on another video. There's button and loop fastenings as well. So some people will sort of be allergic to metals. All of our metals are nickel free, lead free, but it might be they're still allergic to something within there. So this one is a button. So you start with a button and you put that in the centre like we have been doing our tying our spare bit. That goes down in your braid, you do your braiding. This one's actually a beaded and an inside out one. When you come to this end, and that technique I've just shown you is you do use that in here, you braid a section with no beads on in this case, or if it wasn't a beaded one anyway, you would just braid that. Loop that round, so that's then your loop to go over your fastening there, like that. But we use that technique I've just shown you where we bind it round, so that's what that is there. So that technique has been bound round and round and round, pulled through but glued. If you look, you can't sort of see the end on there. It's all just been glued, tucked under, and then it'll have been nipped off somewhere, just nice and neatly. And then when the glue's dry, that's really nice and secure, just like an end cap would be. That's then your loop, and that's your button and loop fastening as well. So that's another way to not have an end cap. But this is the Lorraine project covered in my book as well. So if you want to learn a little bit more, you can grab a copy of that. I think the book's $8.99, so it's got 12 projects in and lots of different ways of finishing and doing and making your braids as well. So that is that one. Any questions that I've missed, guys? I can see that Heidi was on there and my mum Gaynor is answering, thank you. I think that covers it. Anything else that I need to answer for you? So hopefully that will allow you to finish some of those UFOs. The key thing I think is grabbing your end caps. We are just waiting for stock of these in 8mm. They will be back in hopefully tomorrow. So hold that thought if you need some of them. Pop some sort of on your wish list or whatever. And we have got them in other colours, just silver we're waiting for. Your other option, like we say, you can do some wire, you can do some button and loops. You're just going to have a stash of buttons, aren't you? And then you've got your wire ones, which was your cone. So you can do that. Anyone that's a bead box subscriber, you're going to have some spare wire left from your box. So use a little length of it. I don't know, just 3 or 4 inches long, something like that. Bend it through and do your wrapped loop. That's a great use of it towards your Kumihimo. So that was in your bead box. That's that one. And then you've got your magnetic clasps and different things as well. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea. This is my UFO that I want to get finished. And this one, very patriotic. I don't know why I haven't finished that one. The boys would probably wear that one. That's the one that I did earlier, so you can see with the end caps on it. And then that was your kind of tassel-y one as well. So hopefully that gives you a bit of inspiration and some different ideas to finish it with. Jill's having trouble measuring finished length. Okay, so start with the length you want your project to be. Now it does vary depending which what cord you're using, because if it's a thicker diameter one, it just seems to use a little bit more. If it's a particular pattern like a 7 braid pattern or a 12 braid, it uses more of certain ones. So that is tricky, and you will find that if we launch patterns, we tell you measurements. So 12 braid will use a bit more of 2 of the colours, for example. But for a standard 8 braid, you're looking at 3 to 4 times the length you want your piece to be. So what do I mean by that? So you take your wrist, you measure how you'd wear a bracelet. So I wear them tight, but you're not super tight. So you don't measure your wrist size exactly because it would be too tight for you. So this one I conveniently made to fit me. So it is quite a small one, but with my end caps on there, that will be to fit me. Because I rather quite like those colours. And that will, so when I made this piece, this fitted into the standard formula. So I measured the size I wanted it to be. I cut my cord to length to three to 4 times, depending how your braiding goes. Start with 4 times to be sure, and then I've worked through that, and that was all my surplus from my measurement. Now what I will say, for bracelets, for most size wrists, 1 metre of each cord, and that's if you're starting it the way I do, where you tie it in the middle, so you're doubling it. If you were cutting 8 separate lengths, which some people do, then you need to readjust those measurements to 2 times, but then you need to bear in mind you're wasting a bit by knotting them all together. So it's only marginal, it's all marginal, but what you can't do that does not work very well is add to your Kumihimo cord. So it's so frustrating if you're doing a long necklace and you've just not allowed enough cord. So do make sure you're allowing enough, but then if you start thinking, oh actually look, I've wasted all of that, I can definitely go a little bit shorter when you're making it. So yeah, just so work from that. So that's when you're starting with the cord, that's what you need to work on first. So hopefully that helps with the cord measurement. And then yeah, you can't add to it, so you've got to ideally try and get that right to do first off. Thank you, Sarah, lots of inspiration you picked up hopefully there. Yeah, so I wanted to try and keep this more about the ending, so hopefully that's been everything you need to know. I'm going to do the post office run, get your things underway. So tomorrow's a regular working day, isn't it, for the post offices and stuff? I think the day after is bank holiday again, so we'll hopefully get them out, and that's really good. Somebody was saying, I only sent that order, didn't I, in between Christmas and New Year, I think? Was it just before? I don't know, but it's got there quite quickly. I think they're catching up now with the chaos of the Christmas rush. So thank you so much, everybody. It's been lovely to come on here with you again, and I will see you, let me think. Oh, Heidi next week, I would say, but we haven't sorted it out. Heidi's given me a whole list of things that she can show you. So our Zoom class programme for January will be coming into play. So I'm looking at mine for the 10th of January, and that will be flat Kumihimo and a beaded Rivoli, 2 very different projects. You'll need a flat board, or I can send you one at £3, so you can pay extra. Haven't quite costed the class, but I've been trying to keep them to £20. That includes a kit, so you get your kit sent for that price. About 3 hours tuition we've been trying to do it in, so it's not too tiring. The first one I did, we did do a little bit longer, and it was tiring. So we're trying to do 3 hours where we can. So we'll do the Kumihimo project, have a break, and then do the Rivoli as well. So yes, that'll be those. So that'll be my class. Heidi's going to do Dreamcatcher. We're aiming for the end of January for Heidi's one. So she's going to do a Dreamcatcher. I think we're aiming for a beaded one. I think that's what you all fancied, wasn't it? So we'll again get the kits sorted for that. And get those underway. And I know I'd been asked for the wire dragonfly as well, so again I need to get the instructions done for that, so let me see how I get on with that. We'll perhaps aim for that into February, and hopefully Caroline will be looking at doing a card making one as well on our Riverside Crafts site. So thank you so much, everybody, good to see you all, and we will see you next week. Take care, everybody.